Here over here.
I do. I need to buy a bunch of stuff over here. Hey, everybody, welcome. So we're back, and we're actually, I think we've been doing pretty well. We've been keeping up on 2 months every single time for a while, which is really, really awesome. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Amanda's pick. And just a fair warning, for those of you who have read with other books with us, this one is like, this is exactly, so Amanda was saying how this was the book that I was trying to pick, but I never got to it. My last two picks, I was trying to go for a romance thing. It didn't work. So this one is definitely, there's going to be a lot of raunchy scenes. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And if you're not okay with that, this might not be the video for you. Tune in next time. But there's going to be NSFW through the roof, in all the holes.
It's not in all the holes.
Oh, well, I mean, we'll see. But anyway, so this is Amanda's pick. It is play, and it is book 2, right, of the series of 4?
Book 2, series of 4. You do not have to read them in order, really.
Yeah. So we didn't, and actually it was really nice. Karen and I actually chatted a little bit about this yesterday when we were having our rehearsal. But before we get there, Amanda, how are you doing?
I am doing all right. I am in the midst of term 2 report cards. I have just marked 100 and something band music projects this weekend. So yeah, that's fun. And chasing after kids for the ones that. So
and you were part of a special committee now to read a bunch of
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I inadvertently joined a committee, and now I am just reading nothing but middle school reads for as far as the eye can see until whenever that may be.
Here's the thing. The thing is, out of the 3 of us, you're our resident YA expert. So for you to complain about that, that means you're reading a lot of it.
I am. I believe I am 13 books ahead of my schedule in my Goodreads challenge this year so far.
So, but I mean, at least they're quick reads, right?
Well, yeah, they're picked ones. They're for our books of the year. So it's yeah, we need to read so many of them.
They're at least a 3 out of 5.
They're at least a 3 out of 5. And you know what? Right now we're actually struggling to find books with male leads. All of our books are right now strong female leads, which is kind of cool, but
which is reverse to what it used to be. It seems like all of the books that were pushed on us were all male leads because the thinking, and I don't know if it still is that boys will read books with boys.
Yeah.
And girls will read books with boys, but boys don't read books with girls.
Yeah, and that is kind of our issue right now, is that as great as some of these books are, they're all female main character. So which is why we're starting to find we're trying to find other ones now, but this needs more reading for me.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for ones that are male lead ones.
It have to be published in 2018.
Yep. We'll keep I guess is it 2018 now for next year?
This would be so you want 18/19 for the 2020 because we're choosing ones for 2020.
Great. Okay. Deal.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Yes. Oh, stressed out of my mind, but I'm here. So it's also report cards for me. Yay! And we've got a massive load of concerts next week. It's 4 concerts.
Ooh.
So that's going to be kind of nice. I'm the official piano player for the whole event. So I'm there every morning for the rehearsal and then every night. So it's exciting, but it's also it's so much work.
Yeah.
That's so cool though.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's one of those things where you can't drink.
Oh God.
Because you're around children.
Could.
Children don't remember anything.
Afterward.
My favorite were chorus concerts where everyone would bring in Perrier bottles, but they'd be half Perrier and half vodka.
Oh, Beethoven was so much fun that year.
Yeah, good old times. Don't do that, kids.
Beside people, and there's just the aura of beer. You're just
and gin. I
have to be I had 4 before I came.
Does Vic Sing end on a Friday?
No, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, okay. So you have to wait. Oh no, you can drink Friday.
Oh my God, you guys.
Yeah, Friday night.
I mean, I just drink before. It's fine. It's fine. I'll find time.
Yeah. Well, I am not as busy as you guys. I need to figure out if my students are actually going to be around for spring break. I asked every single one of them and they're all like, I don't know. I was like, all right. So I text their parents and they're like, I don't know. I was like, oh, guys, this is my income. So I was like, okay. Okay, sorry?
Are you going to come here?
Maybe if I actually end up, if I actually end up taking time that I'm not supposed to take off, sure, I'll come and see you.
All right, we'll go to IKEA and we'll buy you a lamp.
Or just hang out. We don't have to buy anything. It's totally
It's okay.
I'm like going through a phase right now where I'm trying really hard not to spend money. So
you're my excuse to go to IKEA.
Well, okay, we can go and eat like the really crappy meatballs if you want.
So good.
Apparently they're really, really, really good, right? And they're really cheap. So,
they are really cheap. Yeah. They're so good.
So like we can go to IKEA for the Swedish meatballs, and we can go to Costco for the hot dogs and like the twisty cones.
So you're just gonna go to the big establishments for the.
Actually, Hood, if you come over, we'll go to the Richmond night market.
I've never gone. I have never gone. I have never gone. So.
Oh my God, you two need to come over and I'll take you to the Richmond night market. There's so much food. You literally only go for food, and the lineups are freaking ridiculous, but they're so good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I'm free, I will definitely come.
If they're open, yeah, sure.
But like other than that, yeah. I mean, it's been interesting because like the snow kind of like killed my groove a little bit. So I'm just trying to get myself back into it. I'm also growing out my facial hair because right now it's the CrossFit Open. So it's a 5-week thing where every week there's a workout that everyone around the world does, and then you log all your scores.
Cool.
So until that's done, I'm just letting my facial hair grow. This is like kind of like my playoff beard.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it there, but it's getting like kind of like it's really patchy. So I was thinking of like maybe like cutting off some hair here and just stick it on.
You know, notice.
Yeah, no, but well, it's all black hair, whatever.
Yeah, so like you can definitely see where everything is. See?
I don't know. I think it looks fine. I didn't notice when I saw you in person yesterday. So
yeah, but that's why I'm sporting this. Normally, I don't like having facial hair, but I figured like I posted it on Instagram and people were like, "Yeah, you should keep it." I was like, "All right, guess I'm keeping it." Peer pressure.
It looks good. It really does. It's different, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's really weird because it keeps like getting caught in my zippers in my jacket. So every single time it gets caught, it pulls one of the hairs out. So it really hurts. So it's not like you can see her here like a little bit shorter in the middle, so they keep on flipping. Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So let's talk about book. Right off the bat.
Dive right in.
Dive in. So a little bit, I guess, like a little bit of background on this book.
Is there
all of the book.
Okay, the background of this book, it is the fourth. Oh, stop that. Sorry, my dog's licking my foot. The background on this book, this is actually the cover for Lick, because this is the 2-chunk book. It's a band called Stage Dive. There's 4 members of it, and the series is 4 books long. There are 4 members. And Play is the second one. His name is Mal Erickson. He's the drummer. So that's kind of like the general.
So we focused on the drummer.
Focus on the drummer.
Mm-hmm. So quick question. So like it's obviously each band member for each book, but are the point of view characters always the female? Is it Evelyn the first book and Lena the third book?
I believe they alternate sometimes because it's actually, I think it is. I think you might be right. I haven't read the other ones in a while, but
it feels like if it's going to be a romantic book written especially for females, that's probably going to be a female lead, right?
I think they are all written in first-person female, which actually normally would really bother me.
I was going to say, don't you hate first person?
I usually do, but in crap like this, like it doesn't, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Having said that, Karen and I did say this book was written well, considering it's like a quick read. Like it read really well. There were no parts where I was just like, man, like grammar or whatever, right? There were 1 or 2 words that were written wrong.
Pretty terrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have to
say is closer to like the better, well-written stuff. So
thank you.
So good choice.
Yeah. So I mean, at least like in terms of like the writing, it felt nice. I mean, like I literally read like 100 pages in like 20 minutes. It was really great.
Yeah, it's super quick.
And it was nice and short, which was really, really awesome. So in this book, the main character, so Anne is her name. And what's her last name?
And Roland.
Roland. Yeah, like Rolling Stones. So her name is Anne Rollins. She is a older sister. She has a younger sister, and she has a mom that's just literally checked out for most of her life. So the reason why she's like battered and low self-esteem and unsure of herself is because she had no parents, and you know, her father left her and her mom checked out, and she had to take care of stuff, and therefore that's why she's so extra trusting and, you know, like always wanting to fix things because she's a fixer and stuff. So that's her background. And when we move into the book, her roommate like steals everything and like takes everything and leaves. Yeah. Her name is Sky. When I first started, I thought Sky was a guy.
Oh.
No, Sky is generally a male name, right? But so yeah, so like even from the get-go, like right off the bat at the first chapter, we're thrown into this world and we immediately know that she's a pushover. Yeah. What Mal calls a doormat. Right, all of her friends have already been like, this was bound to happen, blah 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 blah, and we're set up with the fact that like, so she works at a bookstore.
Yeah,
she really likes reading, but she doesn't read a single book in this entire book.
Yeah, and she kind of sits around and waits for her boss, who she has this like longtime crush over, but will not do anything about.
His name is Reese with a C.
I like that.
Yeah, Reese with a C.
Like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, yeah. But so the one thing that I was talking to Karen about was that I was surprised that like when she was being described, she was pretty like bland. We know that she has red hair, and we know that she doesn't really have a lot of boobs, not a lot of curves or anything. She's pretty kind of like just, you know, plain, like old average looking girl. And I told Karen that she reminds me in my head of Felicia Day. Because Felicia Day is a redhead, she has no boobs, and she's pretty just like kind of like, there's no curvature. So yeah, so I was like, okay, so, right? Because like Felicia Day isn't like super hot as a redhead, right? But like if you're thinking, oh, okay, so like pretty average looking, right? Like there's like charm there. So I was like, okay, why is that? I think Karen, you mentioned
that's
that.
The thing. You just get to know the person, and then they're charming. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying like what you said was that like the lack of detail describing the female character was because of insertion. You want to insert yourself into the story.
You're basically you're trying to be her. That's why you're reading it from first person, is that you're imagining that Mal is coming into your apartment, and you're just like, okay. So going along with this.
And I don't think you actually know that she has red hair until like much later in the book.
I mean, I didn't even know. I glossed over the color.
Yeah.
It was red hair because he wanted her to leave her her pubes.
That was literally the only reason I knew she had red hair. Was he's like, you need to stop waxing because I want like cute little curly like red haired pubes like the one on your head. And I'm like, oh, she's a redhead.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. So shit happens. She loses everything, and her neighbor Lauren, right? Lauren, asks her to be like, and Nate, and then they have loud sex.
I mean, I would love to read their story.
I think there is worth their story.
Okay, they sound fun.
Yeah. So apparently there's just like a throwaway character, but they invite her to
a party.
David and Evelyn's party, and that's where the Mal meets her, and it's so weird. Like, so she's like, oh, I'm in this party, I'm like a Debbie Downer, I'm just gonna go outside for some fresh air. So she's drinking beer, and then this guy's like, hey, yo, your life sucks. Essentially.
That's exactly what he does.
He calls her out of her shit.
Talking on your phone. Your life, it's terrible. Why are you such a doormat?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so first of all, I don't know if I want to insert myself in this fantasy right now, because even if I was a pushover, I would not allow someone to tell me my life sucks, you know?
Well, but she did come back and tell him to F off.
She
But
did.
like the entire time, she was just like, I want to tell him to F off, but his biceps. You know? You know?
Yeah, that's the whole. Well, but she has had the crush on him for like forever. He was her favorite member of Stage Dive.
Anyway, that was the first meeting, and then from the get-go, like David and Evelyn asks, like, "Oh, did you have a conversation with Mal?" And then she was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, there's something wrong there." So you're like, "All right, so there's something there happening, right? There's something off about Mal, or at least Dave and Evelyn think that there's something wrong with Mal."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like in the second chapter, Mal goes, "Yeah, party! I'm the party animal now!" And like the music gets jacked up like a couple of like levels. That's how we meet the first characters. And then, as Karen said, like next thing we know, he's moving in.
Because he overhears that she's in a tight spot. So her roommate has moved out. Her roommate owes her a whole bunch of money. She has no money to pay for the rent. And so he's just like, well, I know a solution. I'll just like move in with you and I'll buy a bunch of
you all this furniture and shit.
It's velvet. It's a velvet couch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gross. Who buys velvet couches?
Like,
Mal does.
Here's my question. If you suddenly came home and the person that you met the night before was like, surprise, roomie, what would you do?
But it's okay. I will say it's
No, Amanda, what would you do? Someone moves in and he's like, hey, I'm your roommate now.
Okay, but honestly, what if it was like your high school band crush who's like super famous and super rich?
No, that's not okay. Like breach of personal privacy. Like there's no way. No.
I don't know. I got some on my list. Are you
like thinking of Nick Carter or somebody?
No, he's already married. We're good.
No, like, okay. Well, I can't name any of the other ones.
Like, here's the thing. Like, here's the thing. So we are led at a very beginning, like we're led to believe that Mal is quite just like spontaneous, right? Just does whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
The situation could have been, hey, he knocks on the door and be like, hey, you need a roommate, right? We can have a conversation about it. But no, he's like, I've decided you need me in your life.
Yeah.
So here's the new couch.
But he goes to Lauren, the neighbors, and says, oh, yeah, she totally knows I'm moving in, but I've misplaced the key, so can you let me in? And Lauren's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, ask questions. I mean, okay, to be fair, it's a romance. You can set your beliefs in all forms. It's just wish fulfillment all over the place, but at the same time, it's like, ooh, boundaries. Okay.
There are no boundaries.
And here's the thing, like my favorite thing is just like, so he buys new furniture. There was like a new new TV, and he has a drum set there. And the entire time, and it's just like, oh man, we shouldn't have slammed the door really loud because like downstairs neighbor is gonna be really really pissed off. There's a drum set in the house.
Yeah,
but that gets glossed over.
And they specifically talk about how you can hear, was it Lauren and Nate
having sex
or having loud sex. Well, then everybody in the apartment hears the drumming.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So how is
by
that?
The way,
romance. This shit doesn't matter. All they care about is how big his dick is.
Yeah.
Really.
But, so essentially, the plot, quote unquote, thickens a little bit. So we finally meet Mal's mom. And right from the get-go, we already know that she's sick. Like she doesn't have a lot of energy and stuff like that. And
to be fair, I did not see it coming. I was like, oh, she's just like a tiny, frail woman.
Yeah. Well, like the first meet that they had, like there was that one incident where the mom was like, "Oh, I'm tired," and then
they shuffled her right off.
Ned? Is that the husband's name?
Something like that.
Sure, sounds good.
So he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And Mal immediately just starts like locking eyes on the dad. And I was like, "Oh, this could be domestic violence."
That
was the only time that I thought, right? Because like, there's no way a son would just give evil eyes to the father. So, but then she was always tired, and I was like, "All right, this sounds like cancer," and she had cancer. So
yeah, which was sad.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So I think your problem, Matt, was that the mom having cancer was such a serious way of explaining why Mal was acting so on and off and on and off. Like, fair enough, you don't know how to react in that situation, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, like I came into this for like the hot sex and the romance, and then we suddenly took a curveball with cancer.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a weird flip.
It is. And I think we all kind of like, we all know how some people will react like that. It's like, oh, something serious? Nope, screw it, party. Don't have to think about it right now. Like, we all know people that do actually react. Like, I know anyway, people that do react to serious stuff like that.
Yeah,
so like, pardon?
I was agreeing with you, yes.
Oh yeah. So like the thing is, even as I was rereading it, that sounds awful. As I was rereading this, the second time around was actually like, I was actually more focused on this whole, like his reaction to his mom. Cause he gets on the phone and he's like, tell me when. He's like, nope, nothing's wrong. Everything's great. Let's have a party. Got to go bang on my drum set.
Right.
And all of a sudden I was kind of like, oh, this actually makes so much more sense why he is the way that he is. Not that I'm saying that he's like that deep of a character, but you know, the emotions that he actually brings out, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense that he acts the way that he does.
And maybe because you had that second reread, you had that knowledge of what happens, is that you were able to pick up on those things, whereas we're just like, he's having this weird, like, and okay, so when they have the band practice and that rando girl comes in and is like all over him, I thought it was like an ex-girlfriend that he was trying to hide from, which I felt would have been almost a better explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a random girl. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it just like, it was thrown in there. And then she's like, oh, it's your girlfriend. And then gone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, plot device done. They're like,
he was there to evoke something and to push forward some sort of conversation that they were going to have.
And here's the thing. The thing is, like, the entire time we're led to believe that he's supposed to be like this whore. But he didn't whore around at all. Right?
Well,
so like,
he made the deal with her, right?
No. The deal was fake girlfriend, but he's still allowed to hook up.
But he doesn't because he's in love with her.
Right? So I'm just like, all right. So this is so stupid.
We'll be fake boyfriend and girlfriend,
but now it's real.
Oh my goodness, it's real.
But you know what? Those are these romantic, these are these tropes that happen in romance. It's like the bad boy who was tamed by the girl, the one who's a whore, but suddenly finds this one woman and suddenly he gets super possessive and nobody can touch her because she's mine. And was the baby daddy the other one? These are like the major.
That is another one.
These are like the major tropes in romance, and trust me, I've read so much of them.
When was this written?
When was it written?
Yeah, like what year?
I can't tell you that.
Let's see.
2016.
Okay, 2014. Well, first edition. The reason why I ask is because this really feels like a newer book in the sense that this is exactly what a male should be like in terms of the context of like feminism now. So, for example, he's supposed to be a bad boy, but he'll still ask for permission. He won't break trust or barriers and stuff like that. Right? Yeah. There's no like, I'm taking you and I'm taking you now. It's more just like, oh, I don't like it when people make fun of you. I don't like so it's just like, oh, okay. So on the one hand he wants you, but on the other hand he's also like quite chivalrous. He has all these nice things, but then he'll still penetrate you with his penis, you know?
Well,
you didn't throw that in there, didn't you?
Even the like, I mean, it happens both ways anyway, but like, he's respectful of her.
He is, yes.
But he's also that hyper masculine protective, and I think that's what a lot of women want in wish fulfillment, is that protection. I'll take care of you, but I also respect you as a person. I think that's the thing. And I think I was telling you, Matt, because Amanda jumped in and said, oh, he's an alpha. And it's like, yeah, but he's an alpha, but he's like heart of gold, right?
Yeah, but that's one of those other tropes. It's like the hardened male, but still has a heart of gold.
Right. And he just has to show you like he's misunderstood at the beginning, and then you find out that there's some emotional thing.
Yeah. See, my biggest thing, I know this is fiction, but my biggest thing for me when reading about this, I was like, all right, this is like wish fulfillment, was the part where like, so he jerks off, like he gets off after fucking, and he's like, no, you didn't have an orgasm. I'm gonna help you orgasm now. I was like, what type of straight man actually thinks that way? Most men are just like, I'm done. Sleep time. You know?
The girl's like, fine, I'll just finish myself.
I guess I'll just wait. It's like, wait, next time. We'll just hold it off to next time. Next time I'll have my orgasm too. No, he's just like, I'm going to give you one too because it's not fair. I was like, okay.
And this is what women want.
Yeah.
So it's like, finally a guy who does something sort of like mutual.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was gonna say, I love the fact that this writer didn't use like random metaphors or words for stuff. It was like clitoris. Oh, okay. Like every single, it's like penis and then vagina and stuff. I was like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. I don't have to worry about like his power, penetrated my special area. I was really glad about that.
Most of the erotic romances that are out there usually use the word cock or penis or probably erection. Quite.
His power.
No, I have never read a book that uses
power.
Sorry.
I'm gonna find you a book that uses the word power. Okay.
Okay, Matt, you do that. That's your next one.
You go ahead. When you write a romance novel, you can totally use the word his power. I may not read it.
But yeah. So essentially, we already know, like halfway, like more than like less than halfway through the book, we know why Anne is the way that she is. We don't know why Mal is the way that he is. But then there's like this one scene where they finally kind of just like they just unload all the information onto each other, and then they're like, "We're broken, but we're gonna be fine. Okay, let's fuck."
Well, there are hints like when he's in the kitchen and he's like he has that phone call, and there's something serious going on with him. You don't know what it is. But you know that there's something serious happening because he stops and he'll be on the phone and then he'll come back and he's like pissed off. His eyes are red. And then he's like, no, everything's great. So clearly something going on. But yeah, it takes like 3/4 of the book before you kind of figure out, oh, it's something's going on.
To me, that is at least a little bit more real. Like his friends don't talk about it because they're like, you know what? That's his news and his business to talk about. We'll let him reveal it when he's comfortable. And that makes sense. Nobody's going to meet you on the first day and be like, hey, you're a pushover. Guess what? My mom's got cancer. Like,
yeah, right?
You don't do that, right? Normal people don't.
Yeah. But the cool thing about this is like when you get him interacting with his friends very much do care about him. They're like, we watched Jimmy go through rehab. We don't need to see you go, like, get your head out of your ass. Let's go. Yeah. Which is actually an interesting take because usually when you have these guys, they're like, bro, suck it up, rub some salt in the wound, you're fine. Just put a Band-Aid on it. Where these guys are like, dude, we care about you. We want you to, feel better. We're here for you.
The thing that I usually like, because a lot of romances involve like a friend group.
Yeah.
And they're sort of continual, is that usually they're like family to each other.
They're extremely loyal. Very loyal. Yeah.
But they're basically looking out for each other. And I think that's one aspect that almost never gets talked about is the support system that they all have for each other.
Yeah. There's very few books that I have read thus far. Well, no, except for, I will say, except for 50 Shades, where they don't have, like, even the stuff that I'm reading right now, there are a lot of motorcycle club groups. Yeah. Like, that motorcycle club, that is their family. Like, they look after one another.
And the thing, too, is it's not your born family. It's your family, which is even cooler to have that friends group.
Yeah, like this one has that, too. It's a group of 3, right? It's a trilogy, but it's 3 guys who are friends.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll show you that one. That's actually not a bad series. The first one I liked. The 2 was all right. 3 kind of whatever.
All right.
Yeah. I was gonna point out something that Karen and I mentioned as well. There's not much music in this one.
There is more music in this one than the other ones, I will say.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay,
it's
cool.
pretty minimal.
So essentially, yeah, it's pretty minimal. Essentially, there's one practice that is written about, two like crazy drumming sessions where I need my own time to kind of like, you know,
There's a concert.
energy, and then one concert, and that's pretty much it. Well, there was that like acoustic
thing at the
party. Yeah.
The other ones are, from what I remember anyway, the other ones were way more focused on the characters. It just so happens that the guys are in a band. Whereas this one, you actually, you know, went to a rehearsal, you went to, you know, a concert. I think there was a couple in Dave's, but from my memory, there was more of him actually playing than the other three guys.
Yeah. Well, they had mentioned, even in this one here, that because of Dave meeting Ev, he wrote that new album, right? They were making new material. So maybe that was like kind of like the springboard as like, oh, we were making new material. That's why they're rehearsing more and stuff like that. Yeah. And in this book, Evelyn's like, yeah, they should like give me money because like I'm like his muse, you know? I'm really good with my Valley Girl accent, by the way.
I love all of your
voices.
Yeah, I even like his power.
His power.
Yeah, but like essentially, like I mean, obviously this is just like, I think it was just like I was expecting like sex right from the get go, so I wasn't expecting to have to like, read like 2/3 of the book, like finally sex. So
a lot of romance. Just have to say,
there is a lot of romance.
For the women. I mean, I guess if this is the erotic romance, is that there is way more buildup than there is actual sex. And that's usually the case because it's more about them getting to know each other and like building up that tension. It's essentially what women kind of need in the bedroom is a lot of buildup and then just like, okay, well, that was good.
Yeah. Like I would consider this like light erotic romance. This is not like a erotic romance. This is just.
It was also, I felt it was really nice though. Like it was not.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was a weird word, but it was tender. It was hot.
They had penetration.
They were respectful to each other, but they were still kind of like, we're still figuring this out. We're not instant amazing, right?
Yeah.
So
like
I like that.
Yeah, like I said, this one was the one that I liked the most out of all four of the books was Mal. I don't know why. I just liked this one more than the other.
Well, I mean like,
he's certainly enjoyable as like
he was a fun character.
Comedic, he's light, he's jokey, he's kind of like he's the person that you want to hang out with because he's fun.
Yeah, but then you find out that he has that sensitive side that he's actually a lot more affected by the stuff around him than he actually lets on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, if I had to choose between the two, I do like Anne better. I don't like her at all. I think she needs to work on her self-confidence and she needs to go to like a counselor. But
probably does.
I liked her because I mean, unlike Mal, I could see her situation and see how that could actually have turned out, right? Yeah. She is a full-fledged character. I was like, oh, I can totally see all those instances and all the history that you have creating you as a person, and why you have your relationship with Reese, and why you have your relationship with Lizzie, and why you have these relationships, right? Like,
The thing that I like with this one is that you can understand why both of them together. It's not just here's two characters and I'm making them be together. It's you can actually see that they would have chemistry and they would complement each other.
Yeah.
So that's
and that was the thing. I think the reason I like this one is that they're the most believable two out of four. Like the first one, Dave and Evelyn got married. It actually starts off with them married because she was drunk in Vegas or something like that, and in her drunken mind married him. And he's like, and she's like, I can't do this. I need a divorce. And all of a sudden they fall in love. And
it's like fake marriage, and then it's real marriage.
And then Jimmy's is, you know, he doesn't understand why he loves Lena, but he does. Even though she's his assistant. Like, you know.
She's apparently hot, so, you know.
But she's not. Actually, Lena, which was really funny. Lena, the one thing I like about her was she is not, from what I remember, not described as like a tiny, skinny little female. Like, she's got, you know, she's a little bit pudgy. She's a little bit bigger. She's not just like a model, but Jimmy's like, we need to have sex. And then that's where it goes. And then Ben is kind of like, oh, I knocked you up. Cool. We should be together. So this one actually, like, Mal actually makes sense.
So I must say that I think I like Anne just because I identified so heavily with her. I have been in so many situations with her and Reese, right? Where it's like the guy is the best friend, but he's like seeing other people and he's kind of stringing you along and he knows that you like him, but you know, he will just like wait because she'll always be there. And then finally, like, I really liked this side thing. Finally, when she's like enjoying herself and she's just absolutely falling in love with Mel, there's Reese at the door with flowers, slack-jawed, like, I missed out. And she's just like, yeah, you did lose. Also, the fact that Mal and Reese have a fight. That was really funny.
In the front lawn, yeah. No, I
was like, oh, okay, that was going to happen. And then, like, I was like, I bet you he's here and they're fighting. And he's just like, don't get, you know, like, she picked me, not you. Also, I bought her a puppy. And I was like, oh, look, he bought her a puppy.
And named him Killer.
Yeah, I was like, probably something stupidly masculine because he's stupid masculine. I was like,
I believe it's
so dumb.
Yeah, I must say, Mal is probably not my preferred type of male romance person to read. He's just a little bit too chaotic for my liking. I like the organized professional a little bit better.
Yeah. Also, okay, I don't know how about you guys, but when I first started reading this book, they didn't give a lot of descriptions of Mal, right? They were just like, oh, he's the hot drummer. Right? So I was like, okay, so like he has long hair, so I was like, okay, maybe like, you know, he's probably like I'm picturing like wavy, maybe brown hair, right? Maybe he has like and he's probably like an American mutt of some sort. And apparently he's Viking because his last name's Erickson. I was like, oh, right, that's where Erickson comes from. But then he's supposed to have like blonde hair and blue eyes. I was like, okay, that wasn't how I was just like expecting you to be. So
I think they all have blue eyes.
Are they all Aryan?
No, Jimmy has dark hair. Jimmy and Dave, I believe, have dark hair, and I believe Ben has dark hair too. I think Mal's the only one with blonde hair. I don't know how I remember this at all, I will say. This could just be me projecting. Like hard.
My problem is that I read so many romances this month because Hello Romance Month and single. So, woo. So like I've kind of mashed a bunch of stories together and they all just kind of become a wash to me.
They really do. No.
That girl and the guy, and like I remember the storyline. Don't remember the names. Don't remember what they're supposed to look like.
I make up my own like physical features after about halfway through the book. I don't remember it. They just start new ones. So it could be that everybody's blonde. Maybe they are all Aryan. I'm just projecting that.
See, like my problem was like I'm getting to this thing now where I'm trying to picture like famous people so I can remember what they look like throughout the entire book. So for me, like Anne was Felicia Day. But like at first I was like, oh, okay. So like maybe he's like an Alexander Skarsgård. And then afterwards I was like, oh, he's essentially Chris Hemsworth. Okay.
Yeah, oh, actually, yeah. He's like Chris Hemsworth. I like that.
I was like, okay, all right. Like
this is, for sure.
Yeah. So there you go. That's
I mean, okay, honestly, Amanda, like you have to hold up that cover because there's no way those arms are real.
This is the cover of Lick though.
Oh.
I know. But like those arms. I'm sorry. What?
That's the cover of Play, the one that Poon has.
This one here.
This is the cover of Lit.
Wait, is it the same person?
Wait. Okay, I have a bone to pick with that cover. I don't understand how his body does that, because if you look underneath his chest and you go down underneath his chest, what fucking part of his body is that? That is just above his drumsticks.
That's his butt muscle.
No. Okay. Listen up. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how his body does it. I've always had a bone to pick with that cover, so I would prefer to look at this cover. Thank you very much, because that's But those
are you talking about like this muscle right here?
Yeah, like what is that? No, underneath that, where it touches the bed cover.
Oh, that's like the rib cage. I mean, I would show you, but this is like a family-friendly show, so.
I'm just wondering how his body is positioned where it does that.
Lifted his arm, and the muscle that you're seeing is this muscle right here.
Right here, and then it's all the obliques. Yeah, all the ribs.
I don't know. It just looks. It looks. Awkward.
I mean, it is photoshopped to hell. So
yeah, obviously, it just looks awkward. I know that's his butt. I know that's his butt.
But it doesn't make sense to me. Who moves like that? Who bends like that?
Also, is that velvet?
Who lies down like that to make your body do that kind of thing?
By the way, that's not velvet. I thought it was like, you know that one. No, there's that one scene in the book where she's like, oh, he's like not lying on. He's lying on his chest, which is a bother, but I can see his beautiful back, and he's on the couch. This is bed. This is totally bedroom.
Yeah, but remember they pulled the mattress out into the living room, so maybe he's,
because they broke the bed.
Because they broke the bed, but not with sex.
This model doesn't have long hair though.
They broke it by competing with Lauren and Nate.
That was funny.
That was funny. I love that. I really did.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Because I feel like I would do that too.
Because okay, realistically, I thought this was a fun book. As much as it's like absolute garbage, I thought this was fun.
Well, okay, it wasn't absolute garbage, right? That's the thing. Like, it was actually really fun to read. I just really didn't like the characters for for mental health reasons, mainly. I was like, you both need to go see a counselor for multiple things, maybe even a psychiatrist. This is not okay. This is not how grown-ups deal with stuff.
This is the thing that I argue to people is I go, you know what? We, all three of us, are so well read that we read all different types of books. We read nonfiction, we read fiction, we read fantasy, we read like realism, we read history, and then we are also allowed to read trashy romance, and that is okay.
Yes, it is.
Who cares? If you're
reading this conversation, Kron.
Yeah, if you're just reading trashy romance, you know what? It's like somebody just watching reality television after a long day of work. Mm-hmm. It's something to turn the brain off and really to just feel good for a bit. And so I'm like, why do people get so like up in arms about it?
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: when it comes down to it, it's still reading, right? You're still like getting better with the English language. Also, like us reading this book, that's one more book than Anne read in this book. Okay, she didn't read any book. Like, I do not believe that she worked in the book where she loved books. Okay?
Here's a pet peeve, totally off topic, but here's a pet peeve where the main character is well read. And there's like a name drop of some classical book that they've read like 10 times. And you're like, no way you've read The Count of Monte Cristo 10 times.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that book. Oh my God.
That's your favorite one. No. And you know what one is the worst one? Wuthering Heights. And I'm like,
oh, it's so bad. No. Have you ever read David Copperfield? That thing is like a freaking tome. No. It's like this thick on tissue paper.
Well, yeah, but if that's like the name drop, like, oh, I'm reading my favorite book. Here's like some super classic book. You're like, no, you didn't, because you're not referencing it at all. It's just a name drop, and I highly doubt that you read it any critically. I feel like you just read the words but didn't connect anything.
Yeah. I thought it was Anna Karenina that she was like really, or Karenina that she really liked. I don't know.
The two things. Number one, Mal did drop names in this book. He's like, oh, don't you know this person and this person and this person? Oh, ew, that person. Ugh, he was kind of good in the run-up, but no.
That was funny.
So he did that, and then he was like, oh, your playlist sucks. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna like change everything and like add some more stage dive songs. I was like, okay, first of all, you hate, like, Mal already said he didn't like the recent album because it's all about Evelyn, right? And like David Evelyn fucking. But Like that was it. Like it was like name drops, and then after that, it was just like, oh, you are essentially unintelligent for the rest of the book. Like you're just like a monster on hormones the entire time. You're just angry and then really, really, really happy, and angry, really, really happy. You're just depressed, essentially. You know?
That's what I said. Bipolar. He's bipolar.
Yeah, but the thing was like, it's the same thing with that girl that he hugged, right? Like, if you're not going to use the thing back, like through that, other than that one scene, there's no point. Like you set Mal up to be like, he's heavily opinionated, arrogant, thinks he knows better than you, and then he's supposed to be kind of like a scholar when it comes to music, and then like all of that stuff gets like thrown out the window, most of it, anyways. Right? He's supposed to be a player. He's supposed to fuck around. He doesn't. Like, there's just so many things. I was like, oh, okay. So like you're supposed to be like this, but you're not. Maybe it's because
it's just to kind of skim over and give you kind of like an idea of a person, so that you're suddenly surprised because it never happens like this in any of the books, right? It just
he's changing for her, you know.
Yeah. And the other thing too, it's a short book. You can only do so much in such little time. If it were a 500 page tome, they probably would have had a little bit more development on that. But you know what? Really, that's not what this is.
But none of these. What are you doing? Oh my god! But none of these books in this particular genre, I would loosely say, really require much, character development. It really is just light fluff. Which is why right now, like I was saying, all my Goodreads stuff is just like middle school reads and then like erotic romance books. Because after reading about like, being struck by lightning, slavery and, physical disabilities and stuff like that, all in middle school, I'm like, what should I read? Penetration. Awesome. Don't need to think about it. Just got to read it. Don't have to have anything going in. Just glance it over, get the clock.
Well, no, you want things to go in and out and in. And out.
On repeat.
Okay. Oh no. Okay, you're right. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too critical.
Have to use his power all the time.
Yeah, his power. But like honestly, with these ones, like I think, I'll fully admit, I did not read romance for. I'm not kidding. Like a solid. I want to say like 10 years. Like when I was like, 18, 19, I went through my Nora Roberts stage because Nora Roberts. And she writes those hardcore, not hardcore, but like those super serious, like, he comes and he sweeps me off my feet and he fixes all my problems and everything's happily ever after. And we fall in love and we have the 2.5 kids, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't actually until like this past summer where I was reading a whole bunch of just whatever fiction. And I'm like, you know what? I will bite the bullet and I will borrow 50 Shades and I'll read that. And as much as I really hated 50 Shades, I'm like, you know what? I've actually missed these. And now I'm just reading a little left, right, and center. But it's a nice brain break, especially like we're like with me and Karen and doing like report cards. You don't want to read stuff that's like, I'm sorry. If I was reading The Loser at this point in time, I would not be done that book. That book would be ripped in half with like just stuff down the drain.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I mean, in August, that's when my like erotic romance went up because I had a breakup and it was like, you know what? You know who's reliable? Fake men. So it was like, I'm going to read like 20 different novels and it's all going to be good.
Yep. And you can borrow so many of them from the public library for free.
Well,
not on yours. Not on yours.
Kindle doesn't, but that's okay because they're like 99 cents or free.
Yeah, I know. I've been buying them on Apple, on iBooks on my iPad, but I also can get them because I can get the Overdrive. But you know what? You saying that, actually, that was the reason I decided to not get a Kobo, was because of what you said.
Yeah, the Kindle.
Or a Kindle, yeah. That was actually the full reason
because I got the Kindle, and I guess I just didn't do enough research that it didn't have the Overdrive. Or it did have Overdrive, but not Overdrive in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, that was actually, like, you saying that was the only reason I did not get a Kindle.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the main things, because every time I would go on the library page, it'd be like, oh, this book is available as ebook. And I'm like, great.
Can't get it. But yeah.
Are we wrapping up?
I think we are. I think we're good. Like, honestly, I was like, okay, like there's really no music involved.
Do you want to hear next week?
But end impressions, what did you guys think? Like you both of you guys know that I actually really enjoyed this as a nice quick read. I would go back to it as just like a brain fart read.
Fair enough. I would say it's sort of more on the average side of the romances that I've read. Meaning like it's not absolutely horrendous, but it's not like
I don't want to Pulitzer.
My type of man. So I'm kind of like probably not going to read it. So it's like a 3 for me.
Like, this is my first romance book ever. So I think it's one of those situations where I think if I were to read another and realize that this is actually so much better than some of the other garbages out there, that I could actually appreciate it. But here's the thing. Like I said, I read this really quick. Not because it was like easy or dumbed down, but that the prose flowed really well. And it wasn't like there was no jump cuts. Every chapter went straight from one scene right into like the continuing scene. So it was continuous. Like, so I was like, I just didn't want to stop because I was like, I want to keep reading this because there's no end. So on the one hand, I was like, oh, this could have been like 6 chapters. Like he just took one chapter and just cut it into 3 or 4. But I like that. I like the flow of the characters. Most of the characters were believable. And I understand that the reason why Mal is so crazy is because he's filthy rich. So like just that suspense of disbelief that he could just do whatever, like, oh, I bought you a new condo. It's beside, you know.
That's another thing that a lot of the men in romance have is they all have absurd amounts of cash where it's like, you don't have to do anything. And I can basically just do anything I want.
Yeah. Or they don't have the cash, but they have the skills. Like, like one of the ones, he doesn't have a lot of money, but he can build a house. Boom, I built you a house. And you're like, wait a minute, zoning permits and shit. Like,
so, and then some of the characters were like you at the very beginning, because of Mal hating Ev a lot, you think that Ev is kind of dumb, and then like Anne's like, well, she's not really around anymore. But then she comes in with the coffee because like Anne didn't show up, and then Anne's like, why do you still work? And she's like, what am I supposed to do? Just live off his money and do nothing? Like, I'm not supposed to be a housewife. That's not my job. I like my job because I'm doing something, and I'm going to pay off my parents by myself first. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah.
I respected her for that. That was really cool.
Yeah. She never wanted to be like a sit-at-home housewife, right?
Yeah. So I think like in terms of that, like Lizzie being like the little bratty sister, like, you know, outing everything. Like, I thought that was really cute. I do like the fact that at the end of the book, there wasn't like a Deus Ex Machina where everything is fine. The mother still passes away. And still has a terrible relationship with her mother. And that last scene where she's still like, and then like she still has PTSD, and Mal's like, are you going to be okay? Like, she's going to come and visit and see the place, right? Right. I like that. Like it's not like it's perfect. There's still things that they need to work on, and everything's like it's still, you know, and there's always.
Yeah, I liked that too, just because it was more realistic. Where it's like, look, we're going to get through it together. We're going to start moving on with our life, and we're going to go through it
together,
which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in terms of that was really good. Like, but like I said, because of like the types of books that I normally read, I just wasn't okay with the fact that these people were making such bad mental health decisions for themselves. Not okay. Not okay. But I enjoyed the sexy times as well. That was pretty fun. I didn't know you were supposed to do so many things to like a girl's underparts. So you know, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. Right. It's like a, you know, like a tutorial.
Underparts.
Yeah. You know? I'm like, this is kind of cool. Okay, cool. And like, I like the fact that like, you know, apparently Mal is just like, oh, you know, I don't need you to be like, you know, like bare baby's bottom down there. I prefer like, you know, bush, you know, like buckwheat, you know. So like, I was like, okay, cool. Like he likes au naturel, you know? That's kind of nice. Some people like that, right? Some people like to like go down on like grass.
He's calling buckwheat.
Yeah. Like, you know.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay. Oh, my face. Ow. Oh, that was good.
Ladies underparts. I'm sorry.
But like I said, it was fun to read. It was nice and quick. I learned a lot, and there were multiple characters in there that I cared for and I really enjoyed. Like I did care that the mom had cancer. I did care that I did care that Anne's like family was terrible, right? And she had a really tough upbringing, and she was doing the best that she could as an older sister to take care of everyone. I did like the fact that Reese had that like, oh my goodness, like that aha moment, like she's gonna leave me, but it was already too late. And I like that there was like no like back and forth. There was no love triangle or anything like that, which was really nice because I was like, all right, that would have been pushing it too much. So like the things that got resolved, I liked that I got resolved, and the things that were still ongoing, it was believable that was still ongoing, right? Relationships weren't gonna heal, and I liked that, and I liked how like right in like that middle of the book, like Lena takes like the beer and just like sloshes it over Mal, and I was like, you and Jimmy, I see you, author, I see how you're gonna sell your next book, and then she leaves, right? She quits. So I thought it was really fun.
Yay.
Good.
All right. So next choice is Karen's choice. So Karen.
All right. So I was reading the synopsis on this one, and I realized that it's horror. So
I'm excited for this.
I'm a wimp. I don't necessarily read a lot of horror, so we'll see how we do. It's not the Halloween months, so maybe it's less spooky. But it's called White Tears. And it's
White
by
Tears.
Harry Kunzru. So it's Hari is the first name, and then Kunzru.
Oh, Kunzru? Yeah. Kunzru? Yeah.
I don't know. It's won, or it hasn't won, but it's been nominated for many, 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 many awards. So I can read you the synopsis. Oh, I thought I had it.
Sure.
What was the title again?
White Tears.
Okay.
Is a ghost story, a terrifying murder mystery, a timely meditation on race, and a love letter to all forgotten geniuses of American music and Delta Mississippi blues. So I think the premise is something like there's some kids who find a cassette that has some sort of blues on it. I don't know. That's kind of and then I don't know if it like drives them mad or something.
I spoiled something for myself.
20-something New Yorkers. Seth is awkward and shy. Carter is the glamorous heir to one of America's great fortunes. The thing they have in common, an obsession with music. Seth is desperate to reach for the future. Carter is slipping back in the past. When Seth accidentally records an unknown singer in the park, Carter sends it over the internet, claiming it's a long-lost 1920s blues recording by a musician called Charlie Shaw. When an old collector contacts them to say that their fake record and their fake bluesmen are actually real, the two young white men, accompanied by Carter's troubled sister Leonie, spiral down into the heart of the nation's darkness, encountering a suppressed history of greed, envy, revenge, and exploitation.
I just bought it on my iPad, so.
From what I saw on the reviews, people were like, "Well, this scared me."
Apparently, I read a very quick review, no spoilers, on Goodreads. And apparently, it switches back and forth, like side A, side B, side A, side B.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it switches perspectives. That's the only thing I read. I didn't read anything else. Okay. But the first sentence was like, "This book is not what you think it is." And then it says it switches from A and B and A. Right. I think I didn't read that in depth, but
okay, so this will be fun.
Yeah, we had a different book that was like that. Like, was it Chimes that did like the scale going up and the scale going down? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I have suppressed the memory of Chimes. Sorry.
And then Do Not Say We Had Nothing. We had like introduction and then like this middle part and then interlude or whatever.
Okay. But really cool. I can't lie. It was hard to keep track in Do Not Say We Have Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was.
I have no idea, but it's only 288 pages.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to be great.
It is now. It is. I just put it in my cart for Indigo.
This is the first horror book that I've read too. Because I mean, like String of Murder, but that wasn't really horror. I feel like that was more thriller.
That was like an adventure.
Yeah, like thriller, right? It was just more like, ooh, right?
I don't normally read horror because I'm too much of a scaredy cat. So.
This is a straight up my alley because I watch horror movies all the time.
Perfect.
Actually, if you look at my Goodreads, I'm technically reading The Exorcist right now, but I've only read like a page in the midst of reading everything else that I have read.
All right. Well, thankfully, you have at least 2 months to read this one.
We'll see when it comes in.
Yeah, it'll be good.
What's that book that you just? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was the book that Karen just recommended to me.
Oh, something about blues. It was another.
No, something about bananas.
Oh, his banana.
His banana. Yeah.
You have to buy it on Indigo.
Super funny. My favorite one is his package.
Oh my god. There is a romance book called Nuts.
Of course.
And then the sequel to that is called Cream of the Crop.
Of course.
And the third one is called Buns.
Ooh.
And they are 30% off at Indigo right now because they had just like
I'll have to check them out on my Kindle.
You know what, guys? I feel like maybe for NaNoWriMo this year, the three of us should write like a romance music novel.
She's written like 3 romances.
I've written 2.
No, but like musically themed.
Oh, music? Actually musically? Are we
talking? But you know what? If you want me to, I'll write one for NaNoWriMo.
I could do it. I mean, like, I'm sure I could have some ideas. I'm already thinking like, oh, there should be like a scene where like he's practicing on the piano and she gives him a blowjob, you know? Everyone's like dream, apparently. I don't know.
Karen, NaNoWriMo, I'll do one for this year.
Okay, there we go.
We don't
it's like symphony and erotic romance.
Symphony. Oh, right. Weren't we going to do? We were symphony, and we each do a person in the symphony.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, there we go. I think that's a perfect way to end.
Okay. Oh my god.
Cool. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. This was actually a really fun read. I enjoyed it. So you guys already know. If not, I'm going to post Karen's choice for next month in the description. But have a good night. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.